What's going on, champs and champettes? It's FireMonkey here, and one question you may be having is, are we getting a live event this season? Because we've had a lot of build-ups for stuff, and you know, there's been a lot of interesting things happening, such as if we look in the sky right now, a giant astral projection in the sky with a moon that will have 8 stages around a spiral, eventually going to a full eclipse, or a blood moon as we continue throughout the season. So it's like, we have a moon doing moon things, we got a whole entire astral map, we have everything that was building up to this whole entire, you know, like, apparatus or telescope or whatever you want to call it, and it all is kind of, you know, building up to something. So will it be for a live event? And the short answer is yes. I say yes because it's a mix of yes and no, but basically it's like, yes, we will be getting a live event eventually, but no, it will not be this season. So what I'm trying to say here is that if you're hoping for a live event to kind of end off the season, you're going to be kind of just sitting there hoping and praying for a long time for nothing to actually happen, because currently in the files there is no way that a live event is currently encrypted. We might have a very small thing encrypted that is related to, you know, the kind of the build up to the next season, but in terms of stuff that you'll actually be able to do and interact with for the end of the season, there is no playlist you're actually going to be queuing up to. There is nothing like that. However, it doesn't mean Epic Games isn't working on a live event, because it appears that next season or the season after, we are going to be seeing some sort of live event actually happening due to a few leaked codenames such as Durian and Arnold. Now, simply put, Durian is the codename of a playlist that got leaked at one point, and what playlists are kind of like the LTMs, like, you know, Zero Build or Solid Gold, and it was leaked to be an event playlist that Epic Games had been working on sometime towards the end of last year. Now, of course, this means that they were also working on it sometimes towards this year as well, considering that we got it leaked this year, but it is an interesting little thing to note that, you know, Epic Games is still working on event playlists and everything else, and we have no clue to really expect, except for, you know, a lot of things to be happening, and it might actually relate to the Arnold codename as well. Now, for those who don't know what Arnold is, other than, you know, the person who kind of, you know, plays Terminator or whatever else, Arnold is a codename that is actually being used for a live event, and it's a codename that we started to see pop up more and more towards the end of this season, which kind of makes me wonder if we're going to end up getting a live event at the start of next season instead of at the end of it. The reason I say that is because we have had them do, like, you know, start of season live events before, where right when you load into the game, you know, you get that mini live event that only you can participate in, and it'll be whatever skin you were wearing when the servers went down beforehand, and, you know, it's a little interesting way for them to play on the whole entire live event while giving you a little bit more of lore or story or something else. And seeing as, you know, a season where we're not getting a live event at all, we're getting a lot of this build up and a lot of these mentions regarding this Arnold codenamed event and everything, and how it has multiple stages. You know, it's going to actually involve, like, armored vehicles, tanks and everything. Well, actually, I don't know about tanks, but it's like armored vehicles are 100% involved in it, and it involves, like, bosses, you know, actual fighting and everything else, that I wouldn't be surprised if we actually do end up getting a live event at the start of next season rather than at the end of it, because of how far it seems to be in development. But of course that could be delayed, and we could end up getting a live event towards the end of next season instead. Now, another thing to mention is that next season Epic Games is planning to unvault tons of mythics related to lore characters, such as the Foundation's MK7, such as, you know, the Zig and Choppy ray gun, such as Gunner's Stinger SMG and everything. So Epic Games has a lot of these named story-specific characters that have mythic weapons and stuff that they plan to unvault as the season progresses, you know, as we go into the next one. And it just makes me wonder if all this build up, you know, this eclipse and everything that's going on in the sky, you know, that moon and everything else, if it's somehow going to bring an alert, you know, maybe like the Cube Queen, or maybe like, I don't even know, like the Seven will somehow get unchromified or whatever, and they'll end up returning for next season's theme. But regardless of what actually ends up happening, you know, regardless of if we get a live event or not, it is going to be an interesting little, you know, predicament where we're going to start learning more and more about how Fortnite's evolving and how they're doing their live events. And the only thing I can really say right now is, based on the actual links and, you know, the, like, gameplay tags and everything else we have, it does not appear that this live event is going to be like the Fractured live event, where it was like 40 minutes of kind of doing like fetch quests all around the island, only to get a few cinematics here and there. You know, of course that is something that they could end up doing, but I feel like, you know, because of the negative feedback on that, and based on the, you know, the leaked tags and everything, it's going to be more cinematic heavy instead of being very, oh, you know, go over here and throw a snowball over into this pillar at 3.45 degree angles or whatever else, because of the feedback and everything. Now, it has been something that I've been working on for quite some time, and it has been something that we're starting to get leaks on, so it's going to be very interesting to see what they do. Now, of course, we know live events and stuff always have a little bit of interactive pieces and stuff to them every single time they release. We just don't really know to what what extent the interactivity will be. We just know that right now, based on the actual gameplay tags and everything else that I've been releasing, that they do plan for whenever this Arnold/Durian/Astral live event releases to be very, very heavily related to the whole entire world of, oh hey, here's a cutscene, here's a specifically cinematic, scripted, acted part out of everything else. And I feel that, no matter what Epic Games does, there's always going to be some people who complain about it. It's like, oh, this event could have been better. It could have been like this one or whatever else. And while the communication is always nice to have, and, it always shows that people, want Epic Games to do more, it is going to be something that we're going to have to deal with once it releases and, figure out if, their statements or whatever are just or unjust. But it seems that whatever is going on with the live event, right, no matter what is happening, when it happens or anything, it all relates to this build-up of Sloan being back on the island, the apparatus right here kind of having an astral map in the sky, something about the eclipse being the key to everything, and just a lot of different areas around there. So it's something that we're going to continue to see building up and everything, and who knows, maybe we'll even see the Mega City Syndicates returning once again to play some part in the lore. Maybe they end up teaming up with Sloan, maybe they end up being like, nope, we're going to betray Sloan because it's Sloan betraying us a long time ago, or maybe it's somewhere in between. We don't really know what is exactly going down here, but we do know that this is all starting to build up to what Donald Mustard had recently been teasing over on their Twitter account, because as you guys know, basically all of Donald Mustard's tweets are teasers, and those actual teasers kind of, indicate that we are going to need to pay attention to the eclipse, and that's going to be a big focus due to different changes to Donald Mustard's, Twitter account, banner, and everything else beforehand relating to an eclipse. And I think that even like this change happened at like the start of this chapter, so whatever is going on with the storyline, because it is in a very kind of like all over the place situation where you have to really pay a lot of attention and effort to really understand what's going on right now. There's a lot of open-ended spots where you can make your own theories about everything. I do think that they do have some place they're going with the storyline, and while we don't have live events or anything to kind of help guide that, it does appear that we're starting to get a pickup towards the end of this chapter for all of the storyline goodness. However, it does bring up one concern I've seen some people talk about over on Twitter, and I want to bring up to you guys to see what you think about it, and it's the fact that it appears that Epic Games is only going to be doing end of chapter events going forwards, right? That is something that a lot of people have been worried about, because it feels like, since this chapter's gone on and we haven't gone a live event for over a year now, they're like, okay, we're craving a live event. We want one of these so badly, but at the same time, you're craving something that Epic Games isn't really giving you, and it feels like, oh, we're starting to get leaks about the end of the chapter coming soon. Chapter 5 releasing in November or whatever, which could be delayed, could be fake or whatever. Well, not fake, but, could be just like a placeholder date type of thing. And we're getting all this stuff regarding, Chapter 5 next season or 2 seasons later or whatever else. And it makes people worried that Epic Games is going to start putting, live events and stuff on the back burner. And instead of making it like a super cool thing for people to participate in, it's like, hey, this is going to happen at the end of the chapter every single time, so wait until then for your live event. Everything in between is just going to kind of be, shooty fun time. So I'd love to hear in the comments down below, what do you guys think about live events? Do you think they're going to shift to a end of chapter only situation for the events, or do you hope that they continue to do it like they've done it before, where it's like maybe right now is just a down period of, hey, we couldn't do every other season or whatever for a live event just because of the fact that it was like, we're focusing on a whole entire racing mode with its own battle pass and everything else, with like multiple competitive tracks, normal tracks, casual mode, easy rider mode and everything else, and we're working on the Lego collaboration, all this stuff where they couldn't put as many resources towards live events as they might have wanted to? Or do you think it's something where they're just kind of like, yeah, you know what, we don't really care about it anymore, mishmash collaborations give us more money. Of course, whatever ends up happening, and I will be reporting on this game until the day it dies, or I die, which is a weird way to end off this video. It's a little bit of a grim way, but you know what, with that said, hope champs and champions enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider subscribing for the content I create, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow with another upload. Peace out.